Welcome to Unlocking the Shoulders. If you have two blocks, that would be great for this class. If you've got a chair, so you see how this chair has the two edges, you can use those for some of the elevation and depression exercises. You also need a yoga strap. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can use a towel for these. This is some of the stuff that we just covered in the workshops in London, and it's one of the workshops I usually teach depending on my travel locations. So if you've missed it, you can catch it again, as well as having some dates back in May down to London. So if you're around, maybe we'll touch base on that another time. So I hope that you enjoy the video. If you've got any questions or comments, obviously we're doing a little bit of shoulder stuff. It is a really big topic to cover, but I'm hoping that with some of these things, you can get your shoulders moving in a way perhaps they haven't moved before, and perhaps work it into your practice in a way that changes the way that you bear weight on your hands and maybe your inversion practice as well. Let's get started. As we do the work for the shoulders, we're obviously working with the entire body. The lower back is still going to be a factor to consider. So if you know that your entire back, so from your head all the way down to your pelvis, that back line is tight and pulls you forwards for this first part, I recommend that you sit on a block or sit slightly elevated so that that isn't the main consideration for your practice. Aiming that you feel that you're more on your sit bones rather than curled under into the pelvis, which isn't going to be massively useful. To begin with, relax the arms, going for more of a palms facing up. This is creating already a suggestion of outward rotation that we will use as we move throughout the class. Typically, when I greet people and they're coming into classes, the arms are inwardly rotated and all of the stresses and things that we have in our world are pulling the shoulders forward. So be that texting, typing, driving, even reading a book. So we need to do some of this work to start moving in a little bit of a different way. So from where you are, sit up and feel in particular for a lifting up through the back of your skull. Close your eyes and start to deepen your breath. As you deepen your breath, be aware of your breath quality and tone. If the breath is very sharp initially, you'll feel it jar and catch, and this will make it difficult for you to expand the rib cage. If you do it slowly, thoroughly, and completely, you should be able to feel a movement in the low ribs, the upper ribs, and then up towards the collarbones. You don't want to feel like the collarbones and shoulder blades are coming up at the top of your inhale, so something slightly less than your fullest breath. It shouldn't feel strained. So breathe in this way. Know that breathing in this way, not only are you moving the muscles in between your ribs, but also starting to move some of the muscles that are adhered to the muscles between your ribs. So speaking a lot to your shoulder blades, your chest muscles, and the muscles around your underarms. These are some of the muscles that we'll be working with primarily today. Relax the arms down by your side. If you're sitting on the block, see if you can get them fully relaxed, moving into shoulder shrugs. Take a deep breath in. Hold your breath, bring the shoulders straight up, straight back, squeeze them. Exhale, drag the shoulders down away from your ears. Inhale, spread in between the shoulders. Exhale, squeeze the middle part of your shoulders back, squeeze a lot, drag shoulders down. Inhale, spread in between the shoulders, palms face up this time. Exhale, squeeze shoulder blades and elbow tips towards each other, drag shoulders down. Inhale, relax the arms down. Second round. Hold your breath in. Bring the shoulders straight up, straight back, squeeze them. Exhale, pull shoulders down away from your ears. Inhale, spread in between the shoulders. Exhale, squeeze middle part of shoulders back, squeeze a lot, drag shoulders down. Inhale, spread into the back, palms face up for this round. Exhale, squeeze shoulder blades and elbow tips towards each other, drag shoulders down. Inhale to relax the arms. Close your eyes, return to that steady and deep breath, and particularly pay attention to the space between your shoulder blades. So you've just done some movement to get trapezius and rhomboid, so the upper part and between your shoulder blades moving a little bit. And the aim is to get this area moving a little bit more with the next part. Blink your eyes open. Grab your strap, hold on to the buckle just so it doesn't hit you, and take the arms forward so they're about your shoulder distance apart. Aim to angle the pinky knuckles downwards at about a 45 degree. Aiming to get that happening from your elbow and your shoulder blade rather than just an arbitrary action in your wrist. So it is possible to just move your wrist See if you can get it happening by the point of your elbow, spinning towards the floor and maintaining that. Pull outwards on the strap so there is tension, but draw your low front ribs in. Be aware from a mobility point of view, some of you are more flexible in your back, and the tendency is to shear the ribcage forwards and back rather than moving your shoulder, so you end up moving your back. Think arm and shoulder blade. Pull outwards. Inhale, bring the arms up, pinky fingers and elbows spinning towards the front of the mat. Exhale, bring the arms down. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, bring the arms down. Ideally, arms are staying straight, shoulder blades aren't lifting up yet. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, elbows are spinning forwards, pull the arms downwards, still maintaining an outward pressure on the arms. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, bring the arms down. Change the cross in your legs. Inhale, bring the arms up, now pause. Bring your shoulder blades up towards your ears. Squeeze the upper arms back and pull the arms back. Exhale, bring the arms down. Inhale, bring the arms up, shoulder blades up. Exhale, pull the arms back, shoulder blades are still up. Inhale, release the arms out. So this one has a few more breath actions. Pull the arms outwards. Inhale, bring the arms up, shoulder blades up. Exhale, squeeze upper shoulder blades back, pull the arms back, elbows are spinning forwards. Inhale, relax the arms down. So you should feel trapezius starting to work. Those of you that know that you have chronic tension there and you're finding some anticipation around getting into that, get into those muscles. So they are working in a constant state. If your head is forwards of your shoulders, we want them to be able to engage and release and begin to suss out what their job actually is rather than just constantly being on. Take a hold of the strap. Inhale, bring the arms up, now pause. Have a look at your elbows. Spin the points of the elbows so they point outwards, but straighten the arms. Pull outwards on the strap. Shoulder blades are not up by your ears, but you're also not dragging them down either. Dragging them down will block this movement. Pull outwards, deep breath in. Exhale, spin your left elbow forwards. Think left elbow, left wrist. Inhale, take that back out. Exhale, spin right elbow forwards. Not just your wrist, more from your shoulder blade. Inhale, open that out to the side, squeeze shoulder blades back. Exhale, spin left elbow forwards. Inhale, release that back to the start. Exhale, spin right elbow forwards. Inhale, take that back to the start. Same on the left. Exhale, spin left elbow forwards. Inhale, take that back, squeeze the arm back. Exhale, spin right elbow forwards. Inhale, take that back. Release the arms down. So that was you doing this with the shoulder pretty much staying in the same position. Next time around, you'll be doing this with the shoulder up, so we're changing how the muscles are speaking. This one is a little bit nastier. Take a hold of the strap. Increase the tension, bring the arms up. I know I'm smiling and it seems like I'm being a bit maniacal and sadistic with this, but it's very good for you. Inhale, lift your shoulder blades up by your ears, squeeze the upper arms back, elbows point to the side of the room. Exhale, spin left elbow forwards. Inhale, turn it back out to the side, squeeze the shoulder blade back, shoulder blades up. Exhale, spin right elbow forwards. Inhale, take that back, squeeze upper arms back. Exhale, spin left elbow forwards. Inhale, take it back, squeeze shoulder blade back. Exhale, spin right elbow forwards. Inhale, take it back, now both together. Exhale, spin both elbows towards the front of the room. Arms are pulling towards the back of the room. Inhale, elbows open back out to the side. Last one. Exhale, squeeze elbows forwards. Inhale, back out to the side, and then relax the arms down. Staying sitting on the block. So you've done some of this work to create this initial movement, a lot of work for trapezius. This time around, you should hopefully start to feel chest and underarms with these actions. This is called unlocking the shoulders as a process. There's some other videos on YouTube about that from ancient history, so you can have a little look. And I don't mean actual ancient history. Sitting on the block, you can either change the cross in your legs another time, or to speak to your hips in a different way, cross your left leg over your right leg for knee pile. This creates a really interesting sensation for hips and piriformis, and then when we come off of the block, you should be able to feel a palpable difference in how the hips are sitting. Cross-legged also works just fine. Bring the right elbow up so the elbow is in line with your shoulder. Showing you side on, your aim is to have the upper arm bone parallel to the floor, arm bent 90 degrees, and the arm itself isn't going to change its positioning. So it doesn't go in or out, the elbow doesn't go in or out, it's pretty much staying straight in front. Deep breath in, lift chest up, watch low front ribs don't open up. Exhale, draw right shoulder back, shoulder blade down. Inhale, reach the elbow forwards. Now take your left hand onto the inside of your right elbow. Inhale, lift chest up. Exhale, push your elbow into your hand and your hand into your elbow, and you should feel chest muscles on that right hand side starting to fire up. Take care that the head doesn't fall forwards or you start using your jaw to work your shoulder, which doesn't really work. Inhale, lift ribs. Exhale, move the forearm out to the side about 15 degrees, if that. Watch out that it didn't just become wrist. Inhale deeply into the sides of your ribs. Exhale to relax the arm down. Come off of the block. If you find that these positions are difficult and you're curling your pelvis under, you can stay sitting on the block or do this with your back against the wall. That might be a more useful variation. I've currently taken the block and wedged it behind my hips, so it's holding my pelvis up a little, but I'm not sitting on it anymore. If knee pile suddenly isn't working, change to cross-legged. Take your left hand about 1.5 feet outside your left hip for side bend with neck release. Inhale, bring the right arm up. Now consider the things you were just doing. You were doing an action of elbow spinning forwards and your shoulder blade moving on your back. Do that here. Exhale, spin your right elbow towards the front of the room, palm faces down, and then reach that arm out. Exhale, flatten your left palm and lean to the left. Inhale, lift right ribs up away from pelvis. Exhale, wrap right shoulder blade towards the underarm, neck releases to the left. Do your breathing in a way that feels like it opens up right side ribs and right side of the abdomen. And your breath quality has a bearing here. If it's too fast or sharp, it's going to feel a little bit aggravated. If you do it slowly, you should feel a gentle opening of ribs. Second stage, stay leaning to the left, reach your right arm to the right, and then lower than your right shoulder. Left ear is easing towards the left shoulder, but angle your chin slightly upwards. Spin the right palm towards the front of the room. Now your target area is to the right side of your throat, collarbone and chest. Inhale, actively reach with that right arm. Exhale, lean the left ear towards left shoulder. Head and shoulders are leaning back as if against a wall. And this should give you that stretch into that side of the neck, maybe even into the jaw. Switch deep breathing back on and notice if breath has become incredibly shallow. That is normal when doing neck release poses, but just be aware of it. And moving with your neck relaxed, inhale to reach with the right hand, use your left hand on the side of your head, and then lift your head up. Change the cross in your legs. Come back onto the block. So a note about where you were stretching into the side of the neck. The muscles that we're looking to get into exist slightly to the side of this big one. So if you turn your head, you should feel there's a big muscle going from behind your ear down right towards your collarbone. The muscles to the side of that, these are scalenes. These are the muscles that are pulling your head forwards, especially those of you that are doing a lot of texting or a lot of information stuff where you're at a computer for long periods of time. Until they learn to lengthen and soften a little bit, your head is going to keep pulling forwards and the trapezius, the upper part of your shoulders, is going to stay pretty sore. So to change that relationship, we need to speak to the postural muscles, which for your neck is scalenes, and some of the others are around there. Bring your left elbow up. Unlocking the shoulders, part 2. Left elbow in line with the shoulder. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, draw your left shoulder blade back, shoulder blade down. Inhale, reach the elbow forwards in space. Take your right hand onto the inside of the elbow. Inhale to stretch rib cage up, low front ribs in. Exhale, press elbow into hand and hand into elbow. Do this to fire up your chest muscles so you feel pecs starting to engage, armpit muscles starting to engage. It should feel tiring. Stay with this level of resistance. Exhale, left shoulder back, shoulder blade down. Inhale, reach the elbow forwards. Exhale, move the angle of the forearm out, anything up to about 15 degrees. It might be 0.15 degrees, and I will totally take that. Inhale to release the arm down. Should feel fatigued. Come off of the block, so you're back into either a cross-legged or knee pile with the right leg on top. Now, the leg that is crossed does have a bearing on how it speaks to the hip. So if you're doing the side bend away from your left hip, you want to have your right leg crossed over the top, and it creates a bit of a pinning action onto that side. Take the right hand outside the right hip about 1.5 feet. Inhale, bring the left arm up. Exhale, spin the left elbow towards the front of the room and then lean to the right. Inhale, lift ribcage up. Exhale, wrap left elbow towards the front of the room and then relax right ear towards right shoulder. In the video, for some reason, the lighting is going absolutely bonkers and I've now gone very light. I'm assuming that there isn't light coming from me, but we'll see what happens as we continue. Inhale to feel for the bottom tip of your left shoulder blade. Exhale, spin that left elbow forwards and reach out through that left side. Second stage. Exhale to reach your left hand to the left and down so the hand is lower than your left shoulder. Inhale to lift up as if pelvis, shoulders and the back of your skull were against a wall. Lean the right ear towards right shoulder and then angle the chin upwards. Spin the left palm towards the front of the mat. Do deep breathing. Getting your breath back online here is a bit of a challenge, but it is certainly a challenge that is worthy of you. Breathe to get chest and collarbones moving whilst feeling for releasing into some of those tight muscles to the front and side of your neck. If you're getting a tingling in your fingertips, don't panic. There's a little bit of nerve compression going here as we stretch, but it is nothing to be alarmed about. Now moving with your neck relaxed, inhale to reach with your left hand, use the right hand on the side of your head, lift your head up. Come out of that cross-legged position, and this is the part where you can either use the edges of a chair, so like this chair here, or use two blocks or stacked books. Take them either side of your pelvis. Now you've already done a little bit of elevation depression stuff in this class, so when we did the shoulder shrugs at the start, we were bringing them up into elevation and bringing them down into depression, but with very little resistance. In this next part, your arms will be straight and ideally creating movement using a little bit of your own body weight. If you don't have blocks or you don't have a chair, you can do this on the floor, just be aware that your movement range will be somewhat limited. With the hands on blocks, straighten the arms. You should feel the shoulders are up by your ears. This is fine for the purpose of this exercise. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, push down into your hands and slide the shoulder blades down. So you should feel like your head is lifting up above your shoulders. Inhale, slowly allow the shoulders to come back up towards your ears, arms straight. Exhale, pull shoulders and shoulder blades down the back, lifting up through the back of the skull. Inhale, slowly lower, letting shoulder blades come up. Exhale, slide shoulders down, pressing into the palms. Lift up through your pelvis so you get a wee bit of an abdominal. Inhale, lower, shoulders come up towards your ears. Exhale, press into your hands, slide the shoulders down away from your ears. Inhale, shoulders come up, one more like that. Exhale, slide shoulders down away from your ears. Inhale to relax that. Alright, discard the blocks for now. Next part is a twist. Now, one of the reasons I like to get into twists is when I see people in classes and they're twisting, especially if they've been coming to yoga for a while, they tend to twist from their pelvis. And then if I get my chest in the same orientation as my pelvis, my chest is now in line, there's no twist happening in my mid-back, and then I see this twist. But actually there's no twist happening. The pelvis has moved, the torso itself is straight on in line with the pelvis, so there's no real twist happening for the mid-back. So to get into a twist for your mid-back, so like this region, it does require some surrendering of movement through the space below your arm, so the armpit and serratus, but also an ability to get the arm moving around, so the muscles between your shoulder blades, and these can be particularly sticky. I would say this pose comes with a fair whack of discouragement. Do it every day instead of being discouraged by it. This is one that the tension between the shoulder blades can be so intense that people's shoulder blades are physically stuck to their back and don't move. This can create some of that movement. All right, to set this up, take your feet as wide as your yoga mat, legs are bent at a 90-degree angle, and use the hands behind you for now. Exhale, send both knees to the left and polish up the angles so the legs are at 90 degrees. Continue walking your arms around towards the back of your mat, ideally with the hands either side of there. Bend the elbows and bring the chest closer to the floor. Left hand reaches further to the back of the mat. Right arm threads underneath the left. So you might find that you're getting down onto the wrist. Perhaps if you put your left elbow down, it will shift the weight enough. Aiming eventually to start taking the upper arm down as you lean to the side. Switch deep breathing back on and breathe in a way that gets the rib cage moving a lot, And you should start to feel some of the areas around the shoulders, the upper back, and the bottom of your shoulder blades that feel pretty stuck or sticky in twisting positions. The slower you can get your breath, the more you're going to encourage a gentle opening, but also not increase the tension in the pose. If you're doing your breathing in a way that is increasing the tension, change that. Inhale, come up from there. It's a bit clunky to come out of. Your arms might feel like they're no longer working. Bring the knees back up through center. Going on to the other side. Exhale, send the knees to the right. Legs are at 90 degrees, so left knee is in line with hip, pointing straight to the front of your mat. Right leg is pointing out to the right at 90 degrees. Walk your hands around towards the back of your mat. So already there's a bit of rotation happening. Right arm is reaching to the back of the room. Take the left arm underneath the left. Now you may find one side appears a little bit more challenged than the other. See what works. Maybe coming down onto the elbow, maybe right arm further back helps. Some of you might be coming down onto that left shoulder. If you're getting any discomfort in the hip, perhaps straighten your left leg out and see if that changes the positioning which is affecting your back. Bring back that slow and steady breath. Breathing in a way that stretches into the side ribs, aiming for your neck to be as relaxed as possible. Okay, inhale, bring yourself up from there. Give your arms a little bit of a roll, so shoulders a little bit of a roll after all of that work. For the next bit, if you were using a towel instead of a strap, that actually might work better for this next part. Otherwise, the strap will work fine. It's going to be going under your hands. I recommend that you pad your knees a little bit, and if you're doing this on carpet, then bits of paper under your hands will help with the slide. If you're on a slippy surface, that's going to be best for this, I feel, because you get that movement without being restricted by the grain of the fibers. So hands are going to be going onto the slippy surface. I want you to watch first. So part one of this is being really vigilant that you are not rounding up into your back or moving your pelvis to create the movement. The aim should come from the arms drawing back, not necessarily coming from your core, and not necessarily coming from leaning back. So you have to be very honest with this one. On the inhale, the arms go forwards. On the exhale, pulling the hands back in towards you so the hands are under the shoulders. So that's part one. Part two is inhale, arms go forwards. Exhale, elbows bend out to the side. Inhaling, take the arms back forward. So two fancy ways of scrubbing the floor. If your back feels tweaky with these, go for hips sitting back towards heels. Just make sure it isn't the back doing a lift, but more the lats and underarms. You should be able to feel the areas under here. So round one is going to be more lats. As we do the second one with the arms bent, it starts to get into more serratus anterior. Set your hands onto the slippy things, whatever you're using. Make sure there's padding underneath those knees. Decide whether you're doing hips up or hips back towards heels. Whichever one you're doing, there should be little to no movement in the pelvis. Inhale, slide the arms forwards. Exhale, drag the arms back so the hands are underneath the shoulders. It's harder than it looks. Inhale, slide hands forwards. Exhale, drag the arms back, ideally using underarm muscles, even if it's shaky. Inhale, arms forwards. Exhale, pull the arms back. I like to keep my head lifted rather than dropped here. As soon as you drop your head, you're going to be rounding into the upper back and making things a little bit harder. So in this instance, for a sort of relaxed neck just means not craning the neck, but not dropping it either. Stage two, inhale, take the arms forwards. This time, chest stays down, head is very slightly lifted. Exhale, elbows wide, drag your hands back, elbows are wide. You should feel slightly different muscles. Inhale, slide hands forwards. Exhale, drag the arms back, butt is still in the air, not using your mid-back. Inhale, arms forwards. Exhale, drag the arms back. All right, inhale, press up from there and come up towards a seated position. If it was useful for you to sit on the block, go ahead and sit on the block for now. Bring your hands onto your knees, close your eyes, switch on deep breathing. Get a feel for the work you've done posturally with muscles in your upper back and your shoulders, perhaps ones that you haven't spoken to before. And those of you that have a regular yoga practice, after doing these things, I would say it's a good time to start a full practice. So maybe you go and do a different video. Maybe you do one of the beginners classes. You should feel heat around your shoulders, but also a lot of movement around your shoulders. If these are new to you, I anticipate you might feel some soreness around your ribs, some soreness in your shoulders. That means things are working. Perhaps parts that haven't worked in a while or worked in that way. Alright folks, I hope you enjoyed the video. Any information you want some clarity on, drop me a message. I'm more than happy to get back to you, and any requests for videos that you want for next time, let me know.